I remember the words so clearly. I don't need you. At the time, I truly believed them. I thought I was strong enough, independent enough, to stand alone and build a life that didn't rely on anyone but myself. I told myself that the world was mine to control, that I could walk away from any relationship without a second thought. But now, everything feels like it's slipping through my fingers, and I find myself desperately trying to hold on to the pieces of the life I once had. My name is Mia, and I'm 28. 2 years ago, I had everything I could have ever wanted: a career that I loved, a beautiful apartment in the city, and a boyfriend who adored me. Life seemed perfect. But none of that mattered when I let my pride get in the way. It all started so innocently, like any other day. Ethan and I had been together for almost 4 years, and I thought we had built something unbreakable. We'd been through so much together: personal struggles, long-distance stints, job changes, and we'd always come out stronger. I thought nothing could break us. We were a team. But somewhere along the way, things changed. Maybe it was gradual, maybe it wasn't, but I began to feel suffocated. It wasn't Ethan's fault, not at all. But I had allowed myself to lose sight of who I was before him. I had given up so much of myself to our relationship that I didn't even recognize the woman I had become. I had always been independent, driven, and ambitious. But somehow, with Ethan, I had become defined by what we were together, by the life we shared. Slowly, I began to feel like I was losing the parts of me that made me me. I couldn't remember the last time I felt like I was making my own decisions, following my own dreams. Instead, I had become Ethan's girlfriend, the girl who showed up for him, who made him her whole world. I was no longer Mia, I was someone else entirely. It wasn't until I received a promotion at work, the kind of promotion that would have made my younger self proud, that I felt a spark of who I once was. But even that spark quickly faded when I realized how small I had become in my own life. That's when I began to spiral. I had friends telling me about their new adventures, their travel plans, their promotions, their new relationships, and there I was, stuck in the same routine, doing the same things, day in and day out. I started to feel invisible. I had lost my identity in a relationship that wasn't even mine anymore. I felt like I was living Ethan's life, not mine. I needed more. I wanted more. But I didn't know how to get it without shaking everything up, without disrupting the fragile balance we had built. One evening, after a particularly tense conversation about the future, I lost it. We were sitting at the kitchen table, a bottle of wine between us, our conversation growing colder with each passing minute. Ethan had asked me what was wrong, why I'd been so distant lately, and for the first time, I didn't hold back. I stood up, my voice trembling with a mixture of anger and frustration, and I told him, "I don't need you. I've been trying to tell you that for months. I'm not some woman who needs a man to feel whole. I don't need you to make decisions for me. I don't need you to fix things. I don't need you." The words hung in the air like a storm cloud, each one heavier than the last. Ethan looked at me, his eyes searching for any hint that I didn't mean it, but I didn't take it back. I gathered my things, walked out of the room, and left. I thought I had made a breakthrough. I thought I had finally set myself free from the chains of dependence. I believed that I was being brave, being strong. But in the silence that followed, I started to realize how much I had relied on him, how much of myself I had lost in the process of trying to prove something to myself. The days that followed were strange. Ethan tried to reach out to me, of course. He was always the one who reached out first, trying to make things right. But I was too stubborn, too proud to admit that I needed him. I threw myself into my work, spent time with friends, even started going out to bars on my own. At first, it felt empowering. I told myself I was reclaiming my independence, that I was taking control of my life again. But the more I did it, the more I felt empty. The more I realized that I wasn't getting stronger. I was just filling the silence with distractions. A few weeks later, I couldn't deny it any longer. I missed him. I missed everything about him: his laugh, the way he understood me without words, the way he held me when the world felt too much to bear. Ethan wasn't just my boyfriend, he was my home, and now I had nowhere to go. The truth was, I wasn't as strong as I thought. I couldn't handle life without him. I couldn't face the empty space in my apartment, the silence that filled the room when I came home after a long day. I couldn't sleep because the bed felt too big without him there. I couldn't ignore the truth anymore. I had pushed him away, and now I was falling apart. I told myself I just needed more time, more space. But every time I returned to my apartment after a long day at work, the quietness was a constant reminder that I wasn't just alone in my apartment, I was alone in my life. And I hated it. Finally, after weeks of torturing myself with my pride, I gave in. I reached out to him. "Ethan, can we talk?" The text was short and simple, but my heart was racing. I had no idea what I was going to say, but I knew I couldn't keep pretending anymore. He responded almost immediately, and within minutes, I was on my way to his apartment. When I walked through the door, it felt like everything had changed, and nothing had changed, all at once. Ethan was sitting on the couch, looking at me with that familiar, understanding expression. It was the look that always told me that no matter what, he would be there for me. "I'm sorry," I said, before he could say anything. "I was wrong. I thought I could do this on my own, but I can't. I need you, Ethan." I don't know how I let myself get so lost in this idea that I had to be independent, that I had to be someone I'm not. I was too proud, too scared to admit that I was falling apart without you. For a moment, we just sat there in silence. The weight of the last few weeks hung between us. But then, Ethan reached out and took my hand, squeezing it gently. "You don't have to do it alone, Mia. You never did." That night, we talked. We talked about everything, the fear I had of losing myself in the relationship, the pressure I had put on myself to be perfect, to be someone I wasn't. Ethan listened. He understood. And together, we made the decision to work through it not just as a couple, but as two individuals who needed each other to grow. It wasn't easy. There were still moments of doubt, still times when I felt lost in the world. But every day, I reminded myself that I wasn't alone anymore. I didn't need to be perfect. I just needed to be honest with myself and with him. Looking back now, I realize that love isn't about needing someone to complete you. It's about growing together, supporting each other, and knowing when to let go of your pride. I thought I didn't need Ethan. But the truth is, I need him more than I ever imagined.